Welcome everyone to the Two-Way Street Virtual Coffee House. My name is John. I'll be your host for the evening. A Two-Way Street Coffee House has been presenting live music for over 50 years, every Friday night, live in person on stage. But due to the COVID, we had to go to this streaming format, and we've been at this now just a little over a year, and we're still up and running and doing pretty good. Tonight we have Tret Fure from her place. Actually, it looks like her bedroom. But yeah, so she's going to be performing for us tonight, and we've got people lined up now to perform every Friday night through the end of August, and then, spoiler alert, we may be going back in the coffee house live on September the 10th. So, tune in, or as we're going to do a hybrid, we'll do both virtual and in person and take care of everybody that we can. Both Joel Simpson and Jennifer Ashley have been working really hard at bringing in great people like Tret. When they are not doing that, they also play as a duo called Ashley Simpson, and they do a limited amount of touring. So be checking them out too. There's no performance fee, so there's no ticket to buy at the door. Everything here is virtual, and Tret's playing for your donations, so you have to be really generous. There's a button on the twowaystreet.org. Right at the bottom of the screen, you can see it now. You go there to the website there, and there's a button that says Donate to the Artist. So if your heart desires to contribute, please be as generous as you can, because, like I say, Tret's playing for your donations. We use PayPal to get your kind donations in, and the donations then will go to her. Now on PayPal, you can use your PayPal account if you have one, or a debit or a credit card with PayPal. So you are not limited by not having a PayPal account. So anyway, I think I'm reading my notes here. I think I've gone through everything. With that, let's bring in Tret Fure. Take it away, Tret.
Thank you, John. And by the way, John, we should have talked this ahead of time, but it's actually Fury. So, as in anger and rage, because you mispronounced my name.
Yikes.
Just kidding. Anyway, I'm delighted to be here with you all tonight. I have played Two-Way Street twice, and I look forward to coming back live again maybe sometime next year when everything's back up and running. But in the meantime, I am delighted to be here with you virtually. And I'm going to start with a sing-along, a happy-go-lucky little ditty about the afterlife, because why not? So this is your part. Afterlife, afterlife. You're sitting here wondering what comes up. Afterlife, afterlife. That's your part. Step outside, you just don't know. You step outside, you just let go. And in that movement, and in that fall, and in that instant, it all comes to a halt. Afterlife, afterlife. You're sitting here wondering what comes up. Afterlife, afterlife. Yourself, you're a little off, you call for help, it's off to the doctors, off for some tests, it turns out to be more than just bed rest. Afterlife, afterlife, sing with me, you're sitting here wondering what comes up. Afterlife, afterlife. Other, one laugh longing for more, one kiss blown to the one you love as you turn to choose door will be the door. So you're on the plane, you're flying somewhere. You're on the plane, you're slightly scared, a little bit turbulent, a little rough air. You're holding your breath and saying a prayer. Afterlife, afterlife. You're sitting here wondering what comes up. Afterlife, afterlife. One foot in front of the other. Door will be the door. You get in your car, you're on the road. You get in your car, you're headed home. Suddenly headlights are headed right at you. Somebody lost control. Afterlife, afterlife. Sitting here wondering what comes up. Afterlife, afterlife. One foot in front of the other. One laugh longing for more. One kiss blown to the one you love as you turn to choose which door will be the door. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that song is from my latest and 17th album, Stone by Stone, that came out at the beginning of this year. I recorded it during the pandemic, and it was released at the beginning of the year, and it has gotten, I'm very proud of this work. I think it's my best. People have told me so, and it's gotten wonderful radio play on the folk DJ charts as well as the NACC charts. So I'm very grateful for that. That's what you hope for as a folk artist, is to get played on independent radio. So I'm going to do several songs from the new CD as well as some other regional songs, since I am playing for a wonderful venue in the Midwest. But for right now, I would like to do the title cut from my latest CD, Stone by Stone. And it's a song that I call, it's my autobiographical look at love through the lens of time. All true stuff. I had a life, it seemed so beautiful. I had a home, it was quite large. There were 2 horses and a studio, a great big fireplace, and I built the barn. 7 acres in the country. In '93 my mother died. For 7 years, somewhat numbly, we walked the pasture stride by stride. It is amazing that life continues, and stone by stone we move along. I have a new life, it too is beautiful, and I keep the old inside my songs. I had a life, I lived in Madison, I had a home, and it was small, but it was cozy. It had a lot of sun, and and I rake the leaves come every fall. For 10 good years it felt like home, until our lost love left me cold. I shoveled snow and did it all alone, and I kept my chin up, both brave and bold. It is amazing that life continues, and stone by stone we move along. I have a new life, it too is beautiful, and I keep the old inside my songs. I have a life near the ocean. I've traveled far for another shot, and I have children and great commotion, and a wife. Who would have thought? In all my years and all these miles, in all the shoes that I have worn, there is renewal once in a while. We die a little to be reborn. It is amazing how life continues, and stone by stone we move along. I have a new life, it too is beautiful, and I keep the old inside my songs. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I know we've all, or many of us, have been there, have had relationships that just don't work out, or that eventually you have to move on from. It's never easy, but love is always worth it. I truly believe we are here on this planet to love. And with love comes joy and also sadness, sorrow, but it's all worth it. And one of the best things that you can get from love, one of the best things we can learn through the process of love is forgiveness. Watched you walk away, and I watched us fall apart, and I wondered how I'd get through it, and how I'd ever regain my heart. But the sun still shines, and the rain still falls, and the moon comes out, and the birds still call, and forgiveness is a powerful thing. And I can still hear those words and sense the pain in my heart, but I don't lie awake any longer, wondering how it all came apart. 'Cause the sun still shines, and the rain still falls, and the moon comes out, and the birds still call, and forgiveness is a powerful thing. And I wish you the best, I wish you so well, and I hope you never ever have to go through that hell. But is that hell isn't real. It's when you're caught between the prayer and the wheel. And because I let you go, my stilled heart started anew. And because I didn't let my sorrow linger, I found a whole new world and a love so true. But the sun still shines and the rain still falls and the moon comes out and the birds still call, and forgiveness is a powerful thing. And I wish you the best, I wish you so well, and I hope you never ever have to go through that hell. But the beautiful thing is that hell isn't real. It's when you're caught between the prayer and the wheel. 'Cause the sun still shines and the rain still falls and the moon comes out and the birds still call, and forgiveness is a powerful thing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I live in Newport News, Virginia now, and we're having ridiculously warm weather. We're having August weather in July. The heat index was 105 today, and it's still about 90 degrees. It'll get down to 80 tonight. So that's why I'm actually in my bedroom. This is my summer performance space, because my studio is upstairs, and we have, as you might notice, window units, and I can't run the window units because they're too loud. So so I have a little fan going, but it's a bit warm in here. So if you see me wipe my brow, that is why. And if you wondered why I'm singing from my bedroom, that is also why. So I grew up in the Midwest, and from the years of 7 to 11, I lived outside of Chicago. So I know the area well, and I've spent a lot of time in Chicago over the years. But it was my wonder years, my growing up years. We lived in a town called Libertyville, north of the city. Where you are west, we were north. And my greatest childhood memories, of course, were catching lightning bugs. And we did that on this one block street where we lived, Elm Court. Now I moved from, after we left Chicago, we moved up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I spent junior high and high school up there. And then I moved to the West Coast and lived there for 30 years. 17 years in LA and 13 years in Oregon. And now the thing is, there are no lightning bugs out there. In LA it was too hot and too dry, and in Oregon it was too cold and too wet. So when I moved back to the Midwest, when I moved to Madison, my first summer was such a delight when I saw my first lightning bug. And I just came from a festival in the woods last week in Michigan, and the woods were filled with fireflies. It makes my heart just feel so good. What we call lightning bugs, put them in a jar. poked a few holes in the lid, took them to the yard, watched them through the glass the way they glow. That was summer to me, under the big elm trees. That was summer to me. Standing in the moonlight, feeling the breeze, playing kick the can out in the streets. We rode our bikes hard till we had to come in, and that was summer to me, under the big elm trees. That was summer to me. And we slept with all the windows wide, trying to stay cool. The nights were hot and sticky, and the days spent at the pool. And I could hear my mom and dad with the TV turned way down, with the feel of the sheets, the sweat on my brow, are all that I am left with right now. We listened to the Cubbies on the radio waves, trying to hit a home run, playing against the Braves when they were in Milwaukee, and that was long ago. And that was summer to me, under the big elm trees. That was summer to me. And we slept with all the windows wide, trying to stay cool. The nights were hot and sticky, and the days spent at the pool. And I could hear my mom and dad with the TV turned way down, with the feel of the sheets, the sweat on my brow, are all that I am left with right now. Are all that I am left with right now. Right now, all that I am left with right now. Yeah, all that I am left with right now. Thank you. So those of you who are from the Chicago area and are of an age, like my age, remember that the Braves were in Milwaukee before they moved to Atlanta. And now, of course, the Brewers are in Milwaukee. But I remember we lived just far enough north of Chicago that we were actually Braves fans rather than Cubbies or White Sox fans, although I've always had a very soft spot in my heart for the Cubbies. Now, I was traveling this last couple of weeks. My wife and I took a vacation. It was working vacation because I had work at the inn. But we went to Bowling Green, Ohio, to visit my niece and nephew and the kids. And one night we were sitting out in the front yard, and the kids were catching lightning bugs. And Anthony had made a jar and poked a big hole in it. And the kids would bring the lightning bugs over to me and put them in the jar. And then they'd run away to catch some more. And while they were catching some more, I'd let those lightning bugs go. And they'd come back and go, "Where'd they go?" I said, "Well, you have to let them go. Otherwise they'll die." Oh, so we did that for a while and then went on to toads. So I lived on a one-block street in Libertyville called Elm Court, as I mentioned, and this song is called Elm Court. It was an amazing street. I'm going to show you a picture of my house. This is the house we lived in on Elm Court. It was a nice-sized house, but it's funny. I went back to Libertyville years and years later. I was on tour, and I just happened to be nearby, so I stopped, went up the street, Elm Court, and of course there were no elms anymore. And I stopped in front of the house, and it looked so small, because when you're a kid, everything is so big. But anyway, this particular house, this particular street was one block. It wasn't a dead end. It was a thoroughfare. It wasn't a thoroughfare. there really wasn't a lot of traffic other than the people who lived on the street. And there were 30 kids on this one block. So it was a fantastic street to live on as a kid. There was an empty lot. There were 28 boys of those 30 kids. 3 of them were my brothers, and one was my best friend, Little Caesar. Now I want to explain that Little Caesar was my best friend because when you hear this song, people often think I'm talking about the Little Caesar pizza. There wasn't Little Caesar pizza when I was growing up. My best friend's name was Little Caesar. But it was a wonderful childhood. Cream-colored stucco loomed large in my youth, now shrunk to the length of the years ahead of me. The olds in the driveway, 7 years young, my brothers and I on the street. Get in here for supper, my mother would shriek. Macaroni and gravy gone cold and weak. None in her rocker, my mom at the sink. My childhood hard yet so sweet, so sweet. Games in the empty lot, games on the pavement, no cars on that one block, Paradise Drive. Little Reville, outside of Chicago, some of the best years of my life. Much better in hindsight, such awkward times, but days that roll on like a carnival ride. The past stays the past, and the future too present. Best to just take it all in stride. Take it in stride. Old age, young dreams muddled in the middle. Bigger than life, this flash from the past. Time can be so strange in the riddle, and through fortune our memories last. The elm's now gone, a canopy of maples, gone like the childhood of yesterday. So many kids, all on one block, and hens in the yard across the way. Asparagus in the backyard, now gone to seed. My father would garden, my mother would feed us. And little Caesar, he was my best friend. Old fabric torn now and frayed, torn and frayed. Old age, young dreams muddled in the middle. A bigger than life, this flash from the past. Time can be so strange in the riddle, and through fortune our memories last. Thank you. Thank you so much. I had a memory recently of, well, I've had this memory a long time, when we were kids, both in Iowa, where I was born, and in outside, and when we were in Libertyville. After dinner, we used to go out into the country, and my dad would drive along these little country roads, and we as kids, the game was to go out and pick asparagus along the roadside. But my father would always like keep the car running and keep kind of creeping forward. And I thought, well, and in my later years, I thought, well, that's strange. Were we not picking asparagus from the ditch? And when Lauren and I were driving home last week, we passed fields in Michigan, fields of asparagus. And I realized, oh, the asparagus wasn't growing in the ditch. We were stealing asparagus from people's fields. That's why my dad kept the car moving. Never told us that, though. So speaking of my dad, this song is about him. We moved a lot, and the reason we moved a lot is because my father, he was a coach and a high school history teacher and a coach because he loved sports. He lived for sports. But later he became an insurance salesman. And so every time he got a promotion, we moved. I was born in Shaler, Iowa, then we moved to Story City, Mason City, then Webster City, and then finally to Libertyville, where he was a district agent for the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company. And when he became a general agent, that's when we moved to Marquette, and that was our last move. But my father was an amazing man. I lost him October 25th, 2018. He was 99 years old when he passed away. And he played golf till he was 98. I mean, he truly lived for sports. When he was a kid, he grew up on a farm in Winnebago County, Iowa, just south of the Minnesota border. And they went to school in Keister, and he played baseball all the time. All his brothers played baseball, and all his brothers and sisters danced. They loved to dance. They loved sports. And later in life, when my dad could no longer play baseball or even umpire, he became an avid golfer. And he played till he was 98. And the only reason he stopped playing was because he had the shingles so badly that it was too painful to play. Because he would have played till the very end. Because he was completely cognizant and in completely good health till at the end. And his only complaint was that there was nobody in his age group to play. Now, mind you, my father lost his central vision in his late 70s. And that did not stop him from golfing. He learned how to golf with his peripheral vision. And he had 6 holes in 1 after he went blind. I wanted to show you a couple photos of my dad. This is my dad in high school when he was that great baseball player and a dapper young man that the girls loved to dance with. He was a really, really good dancer. And then a photo of him at 98. Oops. Can you believe that is a 98-year-old man? He was amazing. And this is when I first played him this song, the first time I played him this song. And then he put his hearing aids in, and I played it again. But, I wanted to honor my father for his love of family, his love of his children, his love of sports. So, and that's backwards. So I wrote him this song from my Roses in November CD called Lessons from Home Plate. My daddy was so cool, first in the family to high school. He'd never rest till he aced each test. Baseball was his golden rule. My father loved the game, big town hero with small town fame. He'd block the plates, steal the runner's plate. Baseball was his middle name. Keep your eye on the ball, Keep your feet firmly planted. Take that swing when the pitch feels right. Trust your instincts, trust your truth. Hit that ball just like Babe Ruth. My father taught us lessons from home plate. My daddy was so neat, and his temperament was soft and sweet. A boy well groomed, the girls would swoon. His dapper ways and dancing feet. Out in the Chevrolet, off to the dance the band would play. He'd spin and twirl those pretty girls, and he'd dance a swing till the light of day. Keep your feet firmly planted. Take that dance when the song feels right. Trust your instincts, trust the air. Swing that date like Fred Astaire. My father taught us lessons from home plate. His golf game is still fine. 6 holes in one since he's gone blind. 18 holes, 98 years old. Sound of body, sound of mind. Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your feet. Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your feet firmly planted. Take that swing when the wind feels right. Trust your instincts, trust your creed. Hit that ball like old Sam Snead. My father taught us lessons from home plate. My father taught us lessons from home plate. My father taught us lessons from home plate. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this next song is also about my dad, about his last months. He had been not been doing well. The shingles had really taken a toll on him, and finally in July of 2018 he decided to go to the doctors because something wasn't right. In fact, the second verse of Afterlife is about my father. You're little off, you're not yourself. You're little off, you call for help. It's off to the doctors, off for some tests. Turns out to be more than just bed rest. He went in to see the doctor and he never came home. They discovered that his colon cancer had returned. And because he was 99, he decided not to have treatment because he felt he had lived a beautiful, full life as he had indeed. And he didn't want to go through that. He was ready. He was prepared. So we went to see, my oldest brother and I flew out from Virginia to see him in August. And he was in good spirits. He was in a rehab at that point. In really good spirits. We played cribbage. We took him to lunch. We hung out for a couple days, and though you could tell he was not well and he was frail, still he had that beautiful joy of life that my father always carried. So we said our goodbyes thinking that was it, but it turns out he was moved from rehab into hospice care. And it turns out he wasn't quite ready to go, and he rallied. And the reason he rallied was because the Brewers were in the playoffs that year. And the Packers had a chance at the Super Bowl. So he wasn't going anywhere till he saw his teams. Now the Packers lost in a wild card game, but the Brewers went 7 games against the Dodgers and lost in the last game. Now this is a picture of my dad in rehab. This is a dying man watching his Brewers play on the TV up on the wall. That looks like a pretty happy man right there. He loved his games. And he knew every player of every team, not just the Brewers. He knew every player of every team in any sport. He had a mind, a memory for sports that was incredible. And then this last picture of him was, he's wearing his Packer sweatshirt, and this was the very last game. And he was at this point not able to really watch. My stepsister gave him a play-by-play of the last game. And when they lost, he truly was ready to go. And he went on his way. Just one more game before I go. Just one more chance to see a home run from my favorite team. My favorite game before I board the one-way train across that great divide. I know I'm walking the thinnest line. The doctor told me I had little time. At 99 it's fine to be on my way, but all I ask for is one more game. Score by score and pitch by pitch, I can't wait to hear the play-by-play as I awaken grateful every day, and I remember every player's name. But all I ask right now is one more game. Just one more game before I go. Just one more chance to see a home run from my favorite team. My favorite game before I board the one-way train across that great divide. Score by score and pitch by pitch, a right field catch from a home run hit, the crack of the bat and the ball in play. Oh, how I loved that one more game. I got my father's cap, his cribbage board, favorite memory of a great golf score, his joy in the game and his competitive streak, and a love that runs so deep. So just one more game before he goes, just one more chance to see a home run from his favorite team. His favorite game before he boards the one-way train across that great divide. Thank you. So, one more song about my dad, and not just my dad. The town where my grandparents lived when they retired from the farm in Winnebago County. They moved to Keister, Minnesota, which is a tiny little town on the border. Unfortunate name for a town. Now, but Keister was not spelled like your bum, not Keister, although that's how I spelled it on the album Roses in November, because I always thought that's how it was spelled. It was in the bottom of the state, after all. Turns out that it was actually named after a councilman or someone in town. And I was sitting in my cousin's lawn one day when we were there for a reunion. And I looked up at the water tower and I saw that it was spelled Keister. But for me, it'll always be Keister because of how it's spelled on the album. But Keister was this great little town of 700. My grandparents lived on one end of Main Street. My cousin Kenny had a pool hall on the other end of Main Street. He loved his pool hall. Here's a picture of my cousin Kenny in his pool hall. Look at that smile. He loved the pool hall. And it was the town place. It was the only place to go. My grandfather was the breakfast cook in the pool hall, and proudly so because he was the oldest man in Keister. So now it's about a town of about 500. Now the theater was open. I know it was closed during COVID, but it had been open until then, and I don't know if it's going to open again. But we used to go there every summer, every Memorial weekend, and again sometimes in the summer. And I remember my parents leaving me there with my grandparents some summers for a week or so, and I'd hang out with my grandma Anna. And the great thing was, across the street from their house was this park. And in the summer in the park they would erect this beautiful wooden roller skating rink. And I would lie in bed, I would sleep on the porch, on a daybed on the porch. And I remember lying in bed, listening to the songs, listening to the sound of wooden wheels on wooden boards, and listening to songs like, "It's been a blue, blue day, I feel like running away, I feel like running away from it all." Just beautiful memories of a childhood so well spent. So I wrote this song because I had so many relatives that some are still in Keister. Cousin Tammy, Cousin Suzanne. The grandparents' house is still in the family. And I wrote this because I am in awe of people who never leave the place from which they were born or a place they grew up, because I have far too much wanderlust. I turned off of 90, south on 22, heading down the 2-lane into town. Driving a Ryder truck, my car in tow behind. I think I might have passed my uncle's farm. And I'm on my way to somewhere new, with an urge to glimpse the old, to see if Grandma's house is still the same. With a movie camera as my eye, and wonder as I go, capturing my past in moving frames. And don't you know, behind those curtains and all those weathered panes are whispers, there are strangers on the street. And if I had the strength of heart, I'd knock on all those doors and find out what it's like to never leave. Well, my grandma's house is standing, I almost see her standing too. And here it's been a blue, blue day from the park. And though the roller rink has come and gone, the theater's lit up bright, I'm quite surprised it hasn't gone dark. Kenny's pool hall isn't there now, and he has long been gone, and the family still owns Grandma's place. Well, I drove away before I had the nerve to ask around, but at the time there were things I couldn't face. And don't you know, behind those curtains and all those weathered panes are whispers, there are strangers on the street. And if I had the strength of heart, I'd knock on all those doors and find out what it's like to never leave. Well, I can't imagine what it's like to live one place and never leave, to live your life in just one town, to have no chance to move away, or maybe never want to. So I tell myself that I'll go back, and this time really stay, and look into the eyes of my family, and I'll ask them all to tell me tales that I have long since lost. I hope I have the sense to fill that dream. And I will sit behind those curtains, all those weathered panes, and I won't be the stranger on the street, to hear the stories from the heart and open up old doors and find out what it's like to never leave. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to do a song for my mother now, because she deserves some time. My mother was born in Italy, came here when she was 8 years old in 1928, grew up in the Bronx, and she was about to be married to a nice Italian guy who left her at the altar. So she went down to Newport, Rhode Island to live with her brother, where she met my father. They went out on a date, they went to a dance, and 3 months later, they were married. 9 months after that, they had their first child, my oldest brother. Then the war was over. My dad was this beautiful, handsome sailor she fell in love with. Then he went back to the farm, and he sent for my mother. And she came carrying my oldest brother in the middle of winter in this old farmyard, this farm road, in her open-toed red slingback shoes. And she said, "What the hell have I done?" She was never completely happy until we moved to Chicago, because she couldn't find Italian groceries in Iowa. And it wasn't until we moved to Libertyville that she could go to Chicago and buy groceries in Little Italy. So this song, she was a wonderful cook. She was a fabulous cook. And this song is about this tin cup, which I inherited from my mother. When she passed away, I took it, and it lives on the shelf in my kitchen. And it is something that I cherish, and it's something that she used all her life. My dear daughter, you kept that old tin measuring cup, the one that I so treasured, that I couldn't quite give up. I used it most of my life, and it suited me just fine, measuring my ingredients, leveling to the line. My dear daughter, it was so dented and so worn, I used it every day before even you were born. Like an old friend I could count on, it was something clearly mine, but the thing I failed to measure was time. I kept it all those years, now you keep it on display. I didn't want to part with it, I used it every day. It measured love and life and food so fine, but for you it measures the passage of time. The passage of time. My dear daughter, I'm gone 27 years, and I know that when you hold that cup, your eyes well up with tears. Now it measures all the many ways you've grown, a testament to all you've done and all keep it on display. I didn't want to part with it, I used it every day. It measured love and life in fruit so fine. But for you it measures the passage of time. The passage of time. The passage of time. Oh, time. My dear daughter, you've lived many of my dreams. A singer and an artist and a good cook, so it seems. When your time is done, I hope you also pass it on to Austin or your daughter or your son. I kept it all those years, now you keep it on display. I didn't want to part with it, I used it every day. It measured love and life and food so fine. But for you it measures the passage of time. It measured love and life and food so fine. But for you it measures the passage of time. The passage of time. The passage of time. Oh, time. The passage of time. My dear daughter. Thank you. Well, it looks like I have time for one more song. This hour has gone by quickly. And I want to thank everyone at Two-Way Street for bringing me here. Joel, thank you so much. And Jen for inviting me. John and Tim, thank you for your great tech work and emceeing. It's just a pleasure. And I truly love the venue. Dave Humphreys brought me there first. And I do hope to go back again. I will be in the Midwest touring in the spring. I do have some shows this fall, but mostly venues are still not open. We're just starting to open, as John had mentioned. So I have some shows, but I'm going to keep doing virtual shows through the fall, and I'll keep doing them because people get to hear me that never get to hear me. People in other countries, people in parts of the country I don't go much. So that's a blessing. And that's something I do not want to give up. Why is my guitar buzzing? So again, thank you all, and thank you all for being here with me tonight. I have a couple online things in the next few days, and then I head back to the Midwest on Wednesday. Back to Michigan for a couple of festivals and for a backyard concert in my hometown of Marquette. So let's go out singing together. This is a song that I usually start my shows with, but I thought I would end my show with it. It's a song of celebration, and we should always celebrate as any chance we get. So the words to the chorus are: raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky, let it rain down around you, let it rain. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky, let it rain down around us all. I walk out onto the moon as I gaze upon this big round night, and I wonder, as I always do, how the sun can make the moon seem so bright. 'Cause it's a mystery to me, and it's a mystery to others I can see. and it's a reflection of our bodies, of our souls, of our hearts, of our hearts. Ooh. And I walk along the Nolan Trail as it winds along the river to the sea, and I marvel at the water as it runs so deep beneath my feet, 'cause it's a mystery to me, and it's a mystery to others I can see, and it's a reflection of our bodies, of our souls, of our hearts, of our hearts. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around you, let it rain. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around us all. Ooh, ooh. I stand out in the morning sun, and I can feel the warmth of springtime return, and I thank my angels for another run, where I can touch the earth and taste the burn, 'cause it's a mystery to me, and it's a mystery to others I can see, and it's a reflection of our bodies, of our souls, of our hearts, of our hearts. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around you, let it rain. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around us all. Sing with me. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around you, let it rain. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around us all. One more time. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around you, let it rain. Raise your voice so high like it's a piece of the sky. Let it rain down around us all. Let it rain down around us all. Let it rain down around us all. Ooh, ooh, Thank you.
What a wonderful set of music. You know, you brought back so many of my childhood memories with the Fireflies and the growing up as, you know, the kid. I was just sitting here thinking and enjoying.
Oh, that's
and so, you know, it was a great set of music.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just to let everybody know, tomorrow, Saturday the 17th, we've got a sing-along at the Coffee House in what's referred to as the big room, so that you can spread out and not be singing into somebody else. The following next Friday, we've got Ruth and Max Bloomquist performing on the regular Friday night. They are from Michigan. They have played with us before, and I truly do enjoy their music.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah. So, you know, if you found us this week, you'll be able to find Max and Ruth next week, and for many weeks to follow here. You know, we are not open to the public yet, but we are getting closer and closer to returning to live music. And like I said, spoiler alert, we're hoping to hit September 10th in-house. Now I want to give a big shout out to Tim Kendall because he's our virtual tech.
Yes.
He's the guy pushing all the buttons from behind the curtain and making all this happen. So Tim does a great job there. Now, last but not least, Tret, I told you that nobody gets out of the coffee house without an encore.
Right.
So could you please give us one more song? And
Absolutely.
then you can say goodnight from there.
Absolutely, I'd be happy
All
to.
right, go for it.
I am sitting in this circle with my humble guides, surrounded by the ones I love, protected on all sides, breathing out and breathing in, and holding all that's fine. Though the world around me shatters, I center on this time. And for just one moment we are still beneath the dark and the dreary. If we could shine a light so strong, we may not feel so weary. If for just one moment we are still beneath the dark and the dreary, if we could shine a light so strong, we may not feel so weary. Breathing out and breathing in, and holding all that's fine. Though the world around me shatters, I center on this time. For I am sitting in this circle with my humble guides, surrounded by the ones I love, protected on all sides. Thank you so much, and good night. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I hope to see you out there on the road. Thank you so much for spending this night with me. Good night.